poppin', Columbus? You know what it is, man. DJ Mr. King back for another Music Business Mondays, our monthly virtual conference sponsored by the Columbus Music Commission and Ohio Media School, where we bring together all the power players in the industry, man. This includes record label reps, DJs, artists, producers, aspiring creatives, everything. We bring them right here to you so you can get educated for free about how the industry works. Now, today, I got a lot of dope artists on and creatives on deck. My guy J Rawls, Rashad, DJ BJ, producer Lando Bando, Helluva, Dre Butters. Listen, I got a lot on deck today. Before we get into it, gotta show some love to the Ohio Media School. As a matter of fact, they got a word for us. Let's see what Ohio Media School.
An unlimited connection to others. And a platform for you. Social media is where you can thrive. If you have a passion for media, either on camera or behind the scenes, Ohio Media School can change your life in just 8 short months. Learn from the pros and get the skills you need. Start creating engaging social media content about what you want. You can get paid to create. It starts by visiting beonair.com. Call Ohio Media School Columbus at 614-723-9675.
Thank you, Ohio Media School, for that message. Now, I want to bring up our first guest, my guy, a legend in the city, J Rawls, a.k.a., well, excuse me, let me be professional, Dr. Rawls. Dr. Rawls. He's an educator, a speaker, music producer, DJ from right here from Columbus, teaches over at the Columbus College of Art and Design, where, you're getting these guys together from early, but man, you go deep in the legend, man, working with guys like Beastie Boys, Slum Village, Black Star. Like it's an honor. And I know I always kind of gas you up, man, but it's always an honor to talk to you, man, because I like to always pick your brains about things. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Now, I hope I covered a lot in that brief intro, but you are a part of a grain of sound, like that raucous record era in the late 90s and early 2000s and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. With that kind of style, like the artists such as Mos Def and Talib, like, do they reach out to you for that sound, or was that something that you were already ingrained in that time and the connection happened? How, as a producer, did those things tie in?
I was very blessed, to be at the right place at the right time. I was actually a student at the University of Cincinnati, and that's how I met Talib Kweli through artists like Jay Sands and Mood and that kind of thing. So, we ended up at that time, man, we were just making music. We really didn't know what was going on or if it was going to be something or anything like that. We just were it was the love of the music that just kept us going. And so, I wasn't the only one doing that type of music at the time, but that was how artists such as, like you said, Mos Def or anybody else back in those days that was doing hip hop with that kind of sound, they did, seek us out. But we also, I think one of the key things that we did was we got a rapper. Back then it would have been, and I think it still holds true today. If you're a producer and you're making beats, have somebody rap over your beats. Get somebody, to get out there and showcase your music, because people like instrumentals, but when it becomes an actual song, that's where people can get into it. And I think that's kind of what helped move that sound, in the late 90s, early 2000s. So,
because you talk about the sounds during that time, you're like, what I'm saying, you kind of find yourself in the era where it was transitioned from that hip hop sound, so it was starting to almost be categorized. How did you, as a producer, stay in that? Not stay in that lane as if that's all you did, but how did you not get influenced by what was starting to be other sounds?
Trendy, yeah, the trendy sound. For me, it was just staying true to who I was. I like that type of sound, and that's the sound that I did well. And so I pretty much just stayed in that lane. And then, if you wanted somebody from a different sound, then you would find a producer that did that. Mm-hmm. I think for me, the most important thing was just remaining authentic, to myself. And I think that's where my success came in, because if someone needed that jazzy hip hop or that jazz hop type sound, then they would come see me. And that's what I did.
What was it like when you caught your first break? And how did you handle that?
You know, it was big, man, but it happened fast. That's the thing, man. You know, I'll tell young producers, be ready. It could happen at any time. And the one thing I really want to say is understand the business. You know, a lot of young people end up just doing music, and then they never really understand, you know, publishing, copyrights, royalties. If you are in music and you don't understand what those things are, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know, as an educator, someone who teaches hip hop education, and also I teach music business. I teach about those things. I teach to make sure that students and young people coming up understand, you know, mechanical royalties or artist royalties, or understand about residual things like that. So I think that was one of the main things for me, was learning the business as well as doing the music.
Absolutely. So, and like you said, asking those questions. Speaking of asking questions, if you are watching online, streaming us, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will ask these questions as we go. This is an authentic conversation.
Yes.
As real as it's going to get. It's free, and you're hearing it from the source, man, like somebody like a J Rawls. What was it like, though, like, you know, transitioning from, well, I guess we wouldn't even say transition, because you actually have your own albums out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, how does that work? Like, you know what I'm saying, in terms of being a producer and, you know, is that
and the rapper or whatever, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, I was rapping. I'm from the South Side of Columbus, so I was rapping on the South Side before I started making beats. I actually started in hip hop by beatboxing. So you know, anybody into hip hop doesn't just do one element. You know, everybody does a little bit of something. You know, b-boying, DJing, MCing, graffiti, the four main elements of hip hop. But the thing about it is, I knew that I was making beats, but there were some beats that I would make that I knew how I wanted the rapper to sound on them.
Right,
so it was like, yo, you know what? I think it's gonna be me. I gotta do it this way, or that kind of thing. So so I ended up doing music and creating albums that way. I also do producer albums. I actually got a new album dropping in August, a new jazzy instrumental album. You know, so I try to stay busy, still try to keep going. But that, for me, that's really what it's about. You know, sometimes as a producer, other rappers can't sound how you want them to sound over your track.
For sure. And speaking of the South Side of Columbus, I want to bring up another South Side legend, another legend from Columbus, my brother Rashad, singer, songwriter, producer, straight out of CO. What's going on, my brother?
Peace. What's good, brothers? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Now you got a nice little track record behind you too. Rick Ross, Jadakiss, Starly, Fly You. You know what I'm saying? Just to say the least, man. So as a producer, artist in the game, how do you feel in terms of like your staying power in the role of an artist and a producer in this game? Because you've been doing it a while.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself. I literally got my first record deal at 13 years old, RCA Records. So that's a major record label. And then I was on probably about 2 more other major record labels during my lifetime. And to me, the staying power, how I kept getting those situations, it started when I was a kid. And the main word I want to talk about is craft. You know what I mean? Like people want to talk about social media, want to talk about popping or getting famous, celebrity. Craft will see you through. You know, so to me personally, loving what I did and being involved in my music and not being sidetracked or being distracted gave me all the tools that I needed. So there's a reason why your phone keeps ringing or it stops ringing, you know, and if it stops ringing, it's because you're not on your job, you know what I mean? So throughout those years, last 20 plus years, it's all about being better. And I listen to my music from 20 years ago, and I hear the improvements in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, because I like I said, I'm an R&B singer, I'm a rapper, I do hip hop music, I do a lot of music. I'm still trying to reach to different heights. So craft, that's staying power.
So when you talk about a craft, and any of you guys can answer this, when you talk about a craft, that means constantly building upon, you know what I'm saying, what you're doing, how to get better, and it's your passion. So I guess, or how do you study that? Is it books, podcasts? How do you guys study your craft and continue to improve on it?
The first thing I would ask any of my artists that I produce or work with is, why are you doing what you're doing? You know what I mean? What is the purpose? Is it to get famous?
And let me jump in as well, if I can, King. Definitely one of the big things, and like Rashad said, like you got to know your purpose and know why you're doing something, and that's key to it. But you also, like I said earlier, you got to do the research. You got to, what we call in hip hop, do the knowledge, right? So there are some books. One of them is The Business of Music, which is kind of the Bible. You know, if you're into music and that kind of thing, you really need to own that book. If you don't own it, you're doing yourself a disservice. One of my favorite books, though, is Donald Passman, All That You Need to Know About the Music Business, by Donald Passman. So if you need it, write that down. That's another book that really goes through different things in the industry that tells you a lot about it. Also, there's a book by Kashif. And he gives some different tips, not necessarily about the business, but just like how to understand how to move around in the business. So, you know, there's a lot of different resources, like go to the library, sit down and just start researching.
And a lot of people don't want to do that though today. Everybody wants to have the instant,
quick.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, the instant success and things like that. So with you having that kind of knowledge, what programs and stuff like that, not being that you come from an era where you go, now I want to say you ain't a dinosaur. You ain't have to do it manually.
I'm old, man. It's okay. I'm old. I don't mind it. I can
so how do you, what programs, what kind of methodology do you use in order to reach this generation? What programs and stuff like that do you use to teach in your classes?
Really, you know, it's not really like a program or anything like that you may be thinking of. It's really like I actually teach in college. I teach it's called Survey of Music Business, and I teach students all about the industry. So we go through all the things that are really in that Passman book. You know, that's really important. We talk about labels, even though labels, they don't function the way they used to, they still are there, you know, that kind of thing. So we talk about signing a deal with a label as opposed to going in the independent route and things like that. So I think one of the most important things is for young people to do is to start researching and start looking, because you'd be surprised. A lot of colleges or community centers offer different things on this subject.
Yep. And one thing that it don't matter, you know, you can read all the books you want. You can have all the education that you want. One thing you can't teach a person is how to be a hustler. And the next person I'm going to bring up here is one of the ultimate hustlers, straight out of Detroit, my brother, DJ BJ, you know, Mr. 35.
J Rawls, what's popping?
What's going on, brother?
Mr. 3525 himself, CEO, you know, got a lot going on. Up in Detroit. You know, known for breaking artists such as Sada Baby, I Swear Vezo, Babyface Ray, Doughboy Cash Out, so many more from that Detroit sound. You know, when you got your own artist, you know what I'm saying, G Baby. So when you're in that role, you know what I'm saying, transition from the DJ who knows the sound to producer on air, what is it that you look for in terms of signing an artist to a label, to your label, not shopping them around, but this is what's bringing an artist such as a G Baby to a label, and that's why I'm interested in it.
Well, it's crazy. Yeah, I know this is like a music panel, but me signing G Baby had nothing to do with music. It was kind of more of a moral thing.
Yeah,
from how we connected. You know how like when you want to work with somebody, when you find out how they move, and make you not want to work with them sometimes. Relationship is worth more than money.
Yes.
And it wasn't about money with him. It was more of a moral thing. Like my mom and my dad still in my life. His mom and his dad still in his life. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little family thing. So once I felt the same vibe that he had the same vibe that I had, and he had the same work ethic I had. I'm a big fan of work ethic. Like no matter if we tired, sleepy, whatever, the work got to get done. And that was one thing that G Baby always stood out for me.
Yeah. And I want to add Rashad back into the conversation. Since we talk about work ethic. You back with us, Rashad?
Yeah, man. If I drop out again, I apologize, man. I'm sorry.
No, all good. We were just talking. Yep, we good. So we were just talking about DJ BJ was just talking about the work ethic in terms of the music industry. What separates a good artist, singer, songwriter, producers work ethic for those that's just in there and kind of maybe, I guess, lucked up? What do you think is that separation piece?
Oh, songwriting, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you just said, luck up. Nowadays, people just go in the booth, just come up with words, just try to see what works. But if you got your own lab, which I suggest, if you're an artist, have your own studio, have your own setup, get a mic, get a computer, make sure you can record yourself and write them songs, man. Study history of music. Know what works. You know what I mean? Like, don't just listen to what's out right now. Actually, if whatever you do for a living, listen to the opposite. Listen to something else. You know what I mean? Expand your mind.
Great advice.
Now, BJ, with Detroit, we know that it's its own unique sound, a unique sound that's growing. You know what I'm saying? Just outside of just the state of Michigan, outside of the Midwest, and starting to take over a little bit. What do you feel like is the kumbaya moment of the city, like in terms of like, yo, like this is about to be our sound, you know what I'm saying, or our state or whatever. This is about to be the sound, and this is how everybody gets behind it and work. What is your role in connecting all those dots?
I mean, like I said before, relationships are worth more than money.
Yeah.
You know, so I think on my position and what I play with that is being the extension cord.
Okay.
And that comes in terms of DJs too. Like the artist is the shiner. Sometimes the DJ, we like the most background play, but we may do the most work. So it may be simple stuff for me, from connecting emails from me to you. So now, hey, this is going up the pipeline to Columbus. And you may connect it to somebody else going up the pipeline. And I know that Detroit sound is very different because we like fast BPMs. We always in the 87 to 104.
I love that shit.
They may be a half a bar off, you know, but to us, they on. You know what I'm saying? So
that's Midwest to me though. That's Midwest. I hear it.
So watching that culture spread, it was crazy to me watching that culture spread down the pipeline through Ohio, you know what I'm saying, then hit Atlanta and then Miami, then taking it to Cali, and then it resorted back because the Bay got the same type of sound too. So
yep. So I guess though, but as and any of you guys can answer this question, it's like in your head, you know, like, no, I don't care. This is my sound is gonna stick. At what point do you not be like, yeah, but everybody doing this, and I can just go ahead and catch this lick real quick if I just make this type of beat, if I make this type of song, I can really get on. What makes you not go that route?
I probably have a different take on it. I like every wave of black music. You know what I mean? I'm always into every wave of black music. And my thing is be creative, man. Just don't bite. Like be influenced by what's going on. You know what I mean? But you ain't got to use the same snare and the same kick and the same hi-hat the same way. Like, you know what I mean? Show me your personality and your soul in the interpretation of it. You know what I mean? That's my opinion.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of that, but if somebody wave ride, they gotta wave ride the right way. And I'm only saying that because I've watched records break because of other records.
Yep.
That's like the one era when Future had Stick Talk, the one with Drake, Real Sisters. Everything was at 81, 82 BPM. So if somebody come with a banger, 81, 82 BPM, that fit right in there and it sneak in and you smash them between two powers, you going power, new record power, even in the club, if it's keeping the same box. So I'm not saying I'm not against it, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you smart with it, you're gonna wave ride, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you do it at the proper time when, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me rephrase and say it. I guess a better way to say it is. Go ahead.
No, you got it, Rashad. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say every generation has an innovator, has somebody that takes the culture somewhere. Whether it's Kanye, whether it's Drake, whether it was Rakim, producers influence whole sounds, and everybody rides that wave of the producer. That happens every era. My thing is that's kind of unavoidable. But what you can do is create your own sound within that sound. That's all. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if whatever your thing is, stick to it. Be true, but don't be afraid to expand and try new things. Just be creative. That's my opinion.
For sure. So we got a question. We got a question from the audience. One of these. The question is, how do you get noticed in a wide sea of producers and musicians? So how, you know what I'm saying? Everybody makes beats. Everybody, does music and stuff. How do you get noticed in when everybody is doing it? What separates you apart, or how can you get in there?
I mean, I can go first on that. I'm gonna say, maybe I'm just I look at stuff a little different. I look at the power of social media. You know what I'm saying? And I look at stuff as fan base. I even think radio is a fan base opportunity now. And the same thing with these artists who pop. They're not making the most best of music. It's just that they tapping their fans into what they do daily. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing with a producer. He gotta build his fan base up. I look at it like even if you got 100 followers and every time you do something, your 100 followers tapping in, that's 100 comments. That's 100 people who watching your video. That's it's adding up. So you know what I'm saying? You got to build your fan base up, and your fan bases will take you to the other artists. You know what I'm saying? And them other artists will eventually tap in, but you can't just sit back and think because you got crack beats that somebody gonna tap in. I'm only saying that for right now. If this was 2015, 2010, I'd probably be saying something totally different. But I'm talking 2021, the lifestyle we live right now.
You know what? And just to chime in on what he just said, DJ BJ is absolutely correct. And with that, I'm going to add on like what he said earlier, the relationships. You know, you got to keep building and keep networking. Music, it happens like a lot of times people get signed off of somebody that they know, introduced them to somebody that they knew or whatever to happen, things like that. So yeah, you got to network. So part of it is, you know, in this wide sea of producers and musicians that they talking about, you got to be out there. You know, you can't just sit and just not build and not network and not connect. So you got to be out there connecting and building.
Yep. And we talk. Yep. Go ahead, Rashad. Go ahead. You got it.
So what DJ BJ said, what J Rawls said, you need those two things. And I'm going to add the third thing, craft. If you were not on your craft, man, listen, this has been my philosophy. The cream rises to the top. Everybody do the same thing. Everybody rap, everybody make beats. Yeah, everybody. If you serious, if you really, really trying to be the best at what you do, like a Beyonce, somebody that took her whole life and created and was serious about something, you gonna rise to the top. Period. And that's, to me, that's the best way. Your social media, your fan base, everything will follow that. Once people know that you really are amazing at what you do. That's my opinion.
Hey, King, let me say one more thing, King. I know it's probably a bunch of young producers in here. I'm in my studio right now, so I got like 4 studio rooms in here, and every day I walk in here, it be these same 2 dudes on the couch.
There you go.
19, 20, and I walked in here one day. I said, "Man, who is y'all and what do y'all do?"
Dedication.
The other engineer hide them as they the people who run to the store just to get the chips, but they producers.
Yep.
So when the artists walk in here or something, they be on it. Like they kind of like pet, but they not. They got their business cards. They got they hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right there. That's it. That's
there
it.
it is.
That's
it.
it.
I had to ask them. I said, "Who is y'all? Y'all in the building?" They said, "Because I want to be here." You know what I'm saying? So
and speaking of that, that's exactly like the next guy that I'm bringing up, Helluva. He's hungry. He was hungry, and that's how he kind of helped cultivate the sound in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? He's probably known for the T Grizzly, First Day Out. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of boom, take off. What's up, my guy? How you?
What's up, dog? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good, man.
So look, I wanted to add on to what y'all was saying about the young producers or like somebody just trying to get in the game.
Yeah.
You gotta instead of you being worried about getting some money for your beats first, you gotta find these artists and find an artist you like and spam them. Give them some beats for free. Get his email, put his email with the beats. Yeah. And then another thing is you gotta find an artist you believe in and lock in with that artist. And when that artist come up, y'all gonna come up together.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you feel so Helluva, you talked about that. Do you feel like I want to ask you a couple things. So once you do connect with that artist, right, and y'all build that sound, how important is in this generation, and well, I would say in this day and age right here, where a lot of times people like the beat more than they like the actual lyrics or whatever that song. How important is your producer tag? Like, you know what I'm saying, as of that? Because if people hear your beat, they almost saying, maybe like, you know what I'm saying, with the song. Like, you know what I'm saying, as if it's a part of the song. You feel me?
No, a lot of times I tell people, like they be saying, like people be like, you the best at this or you the best at that. But I just be like, no, I just got the best tag. Because once you hear it, you gonna remember it. It's gonna stick in your head. But you know, what I was about to say about the tag, Jeezy had ended up on one of my beats, and I ain't had a tag on there. So ever since then, I was like, I'm putting a tag on every single beat I do. I don't care if it's a hi-hat, my tag going on there.
Yep. No, I feel you. So look, again, if you guys have questions in the audience, drop them in the chat or drop them down low, and I'll ask them. So Helluva, I want to stick with you. You talk about Jeezy, right? Having a connection with Jeezy and stuff like that. You spent some time down in Atlanta, right? But you kind of felt like, yo, like Atlanta wasn't really receptive to y'all sound, that Detroit sound. So
hell no, they wasn't fucking with it at all.
yeah, so what made it like basically like, yo, this is I'm gonna stick to my sound and how my sound wants to be. I'm not gonna go do a Atlanta sounding record.
Well, we'll see. Everybody in Atlanta at that time, like all their beats was like sounding alike. And what I used to do is like if I knew I was gonna be in the studio with an artist like Yo Gotti, I would try to make some Yo Gotti type beats. But you got to think about it. Yo Gotti probably getting Yo Gotti type beats from 100 people. So if you do something different and he hear that, then he more liable to be more receptive to something that sounds different than something that he hear all day, every day from everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just wanted to stick with my sound, and you know, I just couldn't give up on it. And plus, in Detroit at the time, we was becoming fans of our own music, so that was more important to me than everybody else, like being fans at first.
So with being in the city, right? How is it? We know that in cities, and anybody can answer this. This from a Columbus side, Detroit side, whatever. Being in a city with so much talent, how is it navigating that in terms of making sure that, I guess, I spread my wealth amongst everybody and not necessarily be so like, oh, I only rock with this person, or like, you know what I'm saying, not create separation. Like, you know what I'm saying? How important is that, I guess, as a producer, to be the glue in the city and not part of the separation piece?
Well, me, I always felt like an underdog, and I always felt like, you know, like being on the bottom of the totem pole. So I just cater towards those people because I know that nobody else will. So it don't take followers or status or money for me to say like I'm gonna work with this artist. I'm gonna try to get every last person in Detroit a chance if I can.
For sure. And so since we staying up there, I want to bring two more. I want to add two more guests on. Lando Bando, he's the CEO of THL Records. What's going on, my brother?
Yo, what's going on?
How you feeling today?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. What's up with y'all?
Good.
Where you at, Bando?
Good.
I'm back in the city. Helly, what's up?
Lando!
DJ, what's going on, man?
And then I'm going to bring my guy Drake Butters on as well. Detroit's on here, Drake Butters. What's up, man? Good. Now, I wanted to add you guys on. So as y'all can see, this is a whole Midwest thing going on right here that we got. It's nice. It's a nice conversation. But I want to ask you guys, particularly Drake Butters and Lando. What are your take on, you know, everything gets regionalized in terms of music, right? Where do you feel like we really stand as Midwest in terms of our sound? And far as influence, being the influencer, and staying power in terms of Midwest as a whole.
Well, it's really better than it's ever been. We probably like number 1 or 2. Everybody trying to sound like a Detroit rapper. Everybody trying to make their beats like Detroit rappers. And I mean, say like everybody trying to rap like the Midwest. You feel me? So I feel like it's our time. Time for us to shine. You feel me?
Okay.
It's our Atlanta moment. You feel me? Like they have for so long, you know?
What about you? What about you, Dre?
I definitely think Lando said it best, man. It's like our Atlanta moment. I've never seen so many artists emerge from Detroit, talented artists, great people, man. So I think we on top, man, for real.
So let me like, and both of you guys, and anybody can answer this. Because they're saying like, hey, yo, this is our Atlanta moment, right? Is music in terms of, do I almost feel like as a producer, if I send somebody a text from a 404 area code, I might get a response quicker than I would if I send it from a 330 area code. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the way that the industry, like, people almost respect you a little bit more if you're from, like, because at what point it was like, yo, you had to be from New York to actually know what was going on in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Got that 313 on your shit.
Yeah, you gotta have 313
sir.
on your shit. Nah,
313.
they tapping in quick. They
No,
responding a little bit quicker. Nah, when you got that 313, they like, oh, let me figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Have you, J Ross? Have you seen the difference because you come from that late '90s era? Like, you know what I'm saying, back in there, like so people was looking at like the New York as the centerpiece from it. So you've seen that. You know,
it's yo, I'm gonna say it's definitely grown. You know, it's kind of great to see all this Detroit talent, you know, coming back from, you know, Dilla and on back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you talk Midwest and you got so much talent out here, man. It's kind of like Rashad said earlier, cream rise to the top. So it don't matter where you from, really. People are going to eventually see it, but it's nice that people are recognizing that, you know, it's more out there than just New York or just Atlanta or just LA. You know, it's a lot going on. So that's a good thing.
I want to go back to the business side of things that we talked about earlier.
I got a question for this.
Yep, go ahead. Yep, you got it, Rashad. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I got a question to Helluva and the Detroit homies, man. Like, where did that sound come from, bro? Like, first of all, I'm a big fan of that shit, bro. But where did that up tempo? Where did that sound come from? Man?
It came from Helly.
It came from Helluva.
So, but I mean, what was the inspiration? Because I'm listening to old Spice One, LA shit, but like, what was the inspiration?
Like shit, when I was younger. When I was younger, I used to listen to like all like Too Short used to make his own beats and like E40 and Banks. So and like Dr. Dre and DJ Quick. I was like in love with that sound as a kid. So I always would try to emulate that sound on the bass, like the bass line from Freaky Tales. Like that was like my favorite sound with that. The first time I ever picked up a keyboard. And from there, I just think everybody made that contribution to the sound. I feel like Payroll and even Dan Dot play a big part in the Detroit sound too.
Right. Dope.
So I'm gonna tap in on this, and this is always my argument when I travel, when I go anywhere, and DJ BJ, we had these conversations too. One thing I can say about the Midwest is that we are probably the region that listens to the most diverse sector of music, right? Where we pick up music from, you know what I'm saying, from the West Coast. We are very, like, you know what I'm saying, West Coast influence, down South, East Coast, like, you know what I'm saying, because we don't really have that necessarily, like, yo, I only do this, right? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's always been an advantage, even from a DJ side, you know what I'm saying, going up and I'm like, I don't have to just play like a Midwest set or down, like I only just got down South music or whatever. I feel like that's always been an advantage of living in
we
the
got
Midwest.
we got all those influences.
Exactly. Now, Dre Brothers, I want to ask you a question because you've worked with artists like Ray J, Diggy, Simmons, Charlie Baltimore, you know, all those kind of people like that. Like, what is it like? Why, from a business side, is we talked about relationships, but we also talked about the importance of keeping your business straight. You know what I'm saying? How do you go back and make sure that, like, yo, I might made this hit 10 years ago, but I'm gonna eat off this record 35 years later? You know what I'm saying? How do you make sure that your business is straight?
Man, I would advise people to do split sheets in the studio. I'm
gonna stop you right there. Can you
tell them what that is?
And I only say this because I know what it is. Everybody on this call does, but our audience, you know what I'm saying, that's just doing it, don't know what a split sheet is.
Yeah, pretty much. You got the writer side, you writing the music or writing the lyrics. Then you got the composer side, somebody that's doing the beat, who's composing actual music. So basically, the three companies. SCAP, BMI, and SCAP. So pretty much you just want to, you know, if you're writing the whole song, if you're writing all your lyrics, then you own 50% of the record. Do the beat completely by yourself, then you own 50% of the record. And that's in terms of ASCAP. BMI have different terms. It's 100%. Basically, you write all the lyrics, you 100%. Do the whole beat, you own 100% of the record. So what you want to do is get that understanding before you hit the studio. When you're working with an artist, you're a producer, or an artist, or working with pretty much.
Yep.
And hopefully you own your publishing. And so that's another side to make money.
Yeah, most definitely.
So let me ask you that, guys. This so let's take it back. Is there a difference between a beat maker and a producer in your opinion?
You asking me?
Whoever you guys, whichever one want to answer. Is there a difference between like somebody coming to you like, yo, I make beats. Look at it, like I make beats versus somebody like, yo, I'm a producer. What's the difference?
I'll let you go, Help.
It's a big difference because a person who just make beats, they just gonna send you a beat, email you a beat, text you a beat, and keep it moving. A producer gonna go in there with you and make sure that song come out right because he got the understanding that this song, it ain't just yours just because you're the artist. This my name on this too.
Thanks.
All right. Now with songwriting and production, etc. Right. So is how I guess this would be for like, you know, do y'all feel like do you feel like the YouTube posting your videos or posting your beats on the YouTubes and the SoundClouds of the world, is that productive or is that more detrimental to you as a sound? Is that watering down your sound? Like to give, like, so if I'm a creative, it's like, hey, listen to what I'm creating, but give somebody opportunity to take that creativity.
I know some producers who done got on off putting their beats on YouTube.
Definitely.
From the Midwest.
Definitely.
A lot of them.
I just got off the phone with Ruel. He really came up off that.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I was about to speak on Ruel. When I'm in the studio and I walk past these doors, I probably hear like the same Ruel beat probably like every week. So he got one song, he got one beat that probably got 50 songs out. You know?
It all depends on the producer. Like, it might not make sense for me to do it because exclusivity is a big part of my whole thing. But like if you can get, if everybody coming in the studio with a Ruel beat, because they done got it off of YouTube, eventually somebody gonna say, I need to find him and lock him down.
So I guess then, so if I'm a producer that's out there then, and we're talking about split sheets and stuff like that, but my beat is on if my beat is on a YouTube and everybody and 10 people done rapped on it and put it on a mixtape, how do I eat off of that? Where's my, you know what I'm saying? Where's my compensation coming from then?
You may not. You may not eat off of that one. But you got to keep hustling, keep going.
Yeah, you gotta know your lane as a producer too. You know, there's some more boutique style producers that you're not gonna find their beats everywhere. You know what I mean? They work with certain artists and it's about what type of brand you trying to build. If you want I personally never wanted everybody on my beats. You know what I mean? I'm a picky nigga, so everybody is a little different how they distribute their music. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Hey King, that may come down to this like business talk, but that may come down to copyrights too. Cause
for sure, it's
been times where G Baby will steal something off YouTube, he'll upload it, and we'll get copyright infringement. So all that's pretty much saying is we can't run ads on the video that we shot, and then whoever the producer is, he probably registered that, he got his code in. So when we upload his code popped up, so he get all the back end from the copyright.
So getting free money.
Make any money. You're making that money.
But it might get you hot though. If you ain't hot as a producer, it might blow you up.
Hey, but look, you know what's crazy? Some of the biggest artists done got songs off of like YouTube. They done got beats off of there. And if you got like some type of deal or something, they're gonna take care of that business.
So all right, so then let's go. So we talked about the copyright and we talked about that. So then as producers, if you know, we especially right now with all the music we seeing just reinvention of sounds, right? You know, everybody sampling something, everybody flipping something and stuff like that. How do you get like, and this could be like for J Rawls, this could be for any of you guys. How do you go about like, oh, I got this idea, I'm gonna take this beat from over here and flip it or sample this piece? Do you go about your clearance on the first go around before you even do it, thinking that you can get something clear, or do you do it after you got it all done and it's like, I hope I can get this clear because this be fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't waste it. Like, you know, what I guess you ain't waste, but, you know, put in all this work to make a sound. And then now you got to try to get it clear, hoping that it get clear. What's those steps look like?
I would say it depends on like what project. You know, if you're sending something and you know you're doing this for Kanye or Beyonce or something big, that's gonna need to be cleared, bro. Yeah. But if you know like you doing something, it's not as big or something like that, you can worry about it and do it later.
Okay.
Hey King, I look at that aspect. Go ahead,
Helly. A whole CD with a dude from Compton, and like I used a few samples on the CD, but you know that was necessary samples. So after a while, they eventually got everything cleared.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I had to give them more bounce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know more about West Coast music than you. You feel me?
Because it started in the Midwest. That's why.
Started in the Midwest, man. They know how to be exact.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, BJ. What you was about to add on something?
I was gonna say I kind of look at that aspect as the same thing as playing a new record on radio. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask for forgiveness before permission, and I feel like as an artist too, if that person whose sample you use, if they coming after you, that record big. So don't kind of problem
that's how you know
not that you want, but that you want. You know what I'm saying? Like this record must be doing something somewhere. They know I'm making some money somewhere, so now they want to come at me. So that's when they probably be using the sample. Not saying that they older and washed up, but it's the reason that you use that sample. So you know what I'm saying?
And somebody and like he said, like DJ BJ said, if you did that and that's going on, then some label is going to approach you and probably work with you to clear it, or something's going to happen. It's going to be it's going to work. You can make it work.
Yeah, as long as you're flying under the radar with your music, as soon as you hit that bump, you know you pop in. That's when they come. That's when they call. You get your lawyers right. Yeah. Make sure you split's good. But you know.
So I'm gonna go back. We got a question from the audience, and this ties back into like the craft, right? So in terms of music education and that being a part of the learning of your craft, right? So Rawls, you talked about the education piece and you know why that is important. A lot of people, especially like this generation, don't want to see the real educational piece of it. So can we tap on? Because this will probably be our last question. I'm gonna ask each one of you guys just to tell me that educational piece and why that's important to your craft. I'll start with you, J Rawls.
I mean, I've already talked on. I'm an education guy anyway, so to me that's most important. But understand, it doesn't make sense. I guess for me, it's like if you're going to get into something, then you need to be a student of that thing. If you're into music, like Rashad said earlier, if you don't listen to rock, country, soul, old hip hop, don't think, oh, that's that old stuff. You need to be a student of all of that. And so for me, it's important to be a student of anything that you're doing. So if you're in the music business industry, it is just that. It is a business. You need to understand the business.
Yep. BJ?
I look at it as, like he said, I look at it as even what we're doing is 80% business, 20% music. You know what I'm saying? And it come down to having a full understanding too. A lot of times with the artists and producer, clubs, DJs, it's like, you know, if the understanding is not there, it's gonna be, I'd rather talk that out and we get into it in the beginning than wait till the end. You know what I'm saying? And that go in the same aspect of educating yourself. And I'm a product of I learn by default. I learn by mistakes. I've always taught myself by mistakes. So especially once YouTube came out, that was like one of my greatest keys. I learned to DJ through YouTube because I asked all the OGs and they told me like, no, I don't got time. But I understand now that I'm in this position because now when they ask me, I don't have time. So I get it. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just using the keys that we got in front of us, and YouTube was one of the biggest ones. If I don't know anything about something, about a split sheet, about this, percentages, it's probably going to find 40 YouTube videos. Out of them 40, 20 going to be fake. Another 10 going to be too long, but something going to help you out.
Mm-hmm. So real quick, I'm gonna ask Dre Lando and Rashad this question from the audience. The last question. I know I told y'all. But what about the music and TV side of things? Like, you know what I'm saying? Isn't clearance and stuff like that important in those cases? Because a lot of people think that being a producer is just like, I got to get a rapper to rap on my beat, but y'all can make jingles, y'all can make, you know what I'm saying, theme songs, commercials, and all that. So when we talk about that side of things, how important is clearance and how important is really being able to reach out to a corporate side of things in terms of being a producer?
I'm a top. Go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna tie in the last question and this question.
Okay.
If you own your craft and you got some, then you should have a plethora of whatever it is you do. You know what I mean? If you make beats, you should have 1,000 beats. You know what I mean? You should have them piled up somewhere. So you're gonna have usage. There's TV usage, there's film usage, there's love and hip hop. There's all types of ways that your music can end up in different places as far as publishing. But you gotta be on your craft. You gotta have plethora of music and be able to do it at a drop of a dime.
Right. Go ahead, Dre. You was about to add something on that?
I was about to say, yeah, it's definitely important to understand licensing too when you get into to TV and movies, or just because I'm still learning. I'm always going to be a student, and but I think that you definitely can benefit from like he said, having a catalog. You got some ideas. You can make, to all the producers, you can make 30 to 40 second clips of records, just ideas, pianos, vocals, anything that you can have in the archive, because you never know who you're gonna run into. I just recently got a placement in a movie when I was in LA. Had no clue I was gonna even run into this opportunity. Which I thank God for. Then it was just like so many more opportunities came because of that. And I never was like focused on I'm gonna do TV, but now it's like, no, I gotta have some stuff ready. It could be a little synth with a bass line with a whatever it is that I have ideas for. Definitely want to archive that, put it up, and have it ready. Sure.
I'm give a little bit more inspiration. Reason to go to school, like J Rawls talking about education, scoring films. We leave that up to these old white dudes. At the end of the day, black men should be scoring films. Why can't I conduct an orchestra? Why I gotta listen? Why how come Barry White could do it, but I can't do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we need to raise the bar as far as what's the next level, man. If we don't do it, at least teach the kids. You know what I mean? That's my thing.
And so I'm gonna end with this. So you talking about learning that and raising the bar. I first want to thank each and every last one of y'all for joining me, man. Like y'all know I got solid relationship with the majority of y'all over here, and anything that y'all need, I always got you. But it goes back to that relationship and that networking piece. And a lot of us is right down the road, so we got to continue to build on that. So we got to continue to teach each other, continue to share that wealth, continue to just expand that sound of the Midwest. So I first want to make sure I thank each and every last one of you guys for joining us. I want to thank our audience, and I definitely want to thank our sponsors, Columbus Music Commission and Ohio Media School. And we talked about being legendary, so I want to make sure that I direct people that are in the audience over to our sister station, mycolumbusmagic.com. We're going to have the legendary Nile Rodgers over there, artist, producer, legendary. So if you don't know who this man is, please, I beg and ask you to join us in that conversation. My brother Sean Anthony from Magic 95.5 is going to be having a real in-depth conversation that you can learn a lot from. Like, you learn something here, but go and get that content knowledge and apply it even more, because a lot of young dudes don't never want to listen to the quote old heads that they like, oh man, he don't know it, he too old, it ain't work like that no more. But if you really want to be wise, you're gonna listen to something like that. So I appreciate each and every last one of y'all, bruh, and you already know it's all love this way, man. Whatever y'all need, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's the king. We'll leave it at that.